Missed you at the weekend. Where were you at? Good evening, everybody. Yeah, do you want to see my new guitar? Just give this one a tweak today. Yeah, this badger. How is everyone tonight? Oh, there's only one of you here. Some bunch of dudes came in and bogged off. It's almost like some folk only want me for painting. Here's a nice badger, isn't it? Does it sound alright on your end? Does it kill the mic? Or... loud enough, or if it gets louder will it like distort the mic, which sometimes happens. Has it gone crackly at all? Clear and crisp. Salute. Cheers, Mr. Quarantino. Any of you guys at Salute? What did you reckon, Kay? Mr. L? Did you like ducks? Ducks at Salute. Who saw that coming? It just puts a smile smile on my face. Although my favourite piece from the show, personally, was the Orc Warband. Some dodgy, devious in your opinion? Because of the ducks? Yeah, the ducks were amazing. Yeah, the ducks, just fun. But I actually missed out on the moment with the ducks, with the voting as the judges. Because I actually had one thing that I think should have been pointed out about the ducks. I bet it wasn't discussed. Should I discuss it now? I wonder. You know. Well, the ducks themselves were awesome, and the basses were awesome. You know, but the labels were cut out shoddy, and it's just like, you know. Cut your labels out right. Look to David Soper for how to do good labels. You know, judging team was great. Like best year judging for me so far. Everything was comfortable. Everyone was polite. Everyone had fun. You know, obviously there were some people who wanted their voices heard more than others. Blah blah blah. You know, and which is valuable, but you know, but it was still good. You know, it wasn't, nothing was overbearing. Everyone was listened to. I felt listened to. I really listened to everyone else. You know, I'm always willing to have my mind changed, you know, which happened a few times. And I changed a few people's minds with some of my information. So all in all, you know, it was just good. It was just good, you know. So, there's Mr. Forte. So yeah, it was all good. This man here came away with a trophy, you know. He was part of one of them discussions, actually. Mr. Hayden. Yeah, he was part of one of them back and forth discussions. For them reasons I said as well, you know. It's yours was one of those pieces where the model itself outweighed the painting itself. And, you know, you look through on the sheer cool... You came... It wasn't look, actually. You know, you came through on the sheer the sheer composition of it. It was just awesome factor, you know. So yeah, it was a top weekend. I'm gutted that any video I actually took on the day as well. I lost all my audio for some of the interviews I did I wanted to film some of the judging process and have a bit more of a behind the scenes thing going on, so people can, you know, be involved more, you know, like MasterChef, you know, which I think is something that really should happen. I'd love to make something like that happen. But all my audio was screwed up, you know. Oh, Rule of Cool definitely ruled for Steez, you know. So yeah, there you have it. There you have it. Yeah, man. Make it happen. Yeah, well, we'll see what the arrangement is for next year, because things might be adjusted. Hey, you know. So I'm quite excited about being involved with that. You know, talking to Lawrence. You know. Well, you lost the audio off your photos. Audio photos. Does it look weird when they do this with my head? Tiny body. Chef Carl VFR, that's the one, Chef Carl. You've been on before, haven't you, Mr. Chef Carl? I'm sure. But I tell you, what was nice was some categories I almost didn't want to judge. Like, I didn't want to give me opinion, because, well, I did want to give me opinion, but I was struggling to choose between first, second, and third. You know. And that was Warmer, like, was it Warmer Sci-Fi Miscellaneous or Sci-Fi Large Model? Miscellaneous, I think it was, Sci-Fi Miscellaneous. Or Sci-Fi Other, it might have been called. And, you know, it was his Alien, yeah, it was. It was too difficult, you know, with three, well, I'll say one very different piece, which was Mortari and Richard Gray, and two very similar pieces, because they were both yellow, they were both 40k, they were both large scale models. One was Orc, one was Imperial Knight kind of thing, like a flying Imperial Knight thing, and choosing between the three of those things, because on obviously first impression you look at Richard Gray's Mortarian and it's just wow, you know, and then closer inspection you start to be able to pick it apart, and a number of judges were able to pick a few things apart. Not really the things for me, you know. I'm going through the battle again, and it's like, how do I choose? You know, whereas the other two things were so cleanly done and so nice, and on close inspection kind of got more impressive on close inspection. And it's just like, well, you know, you've got the rule of cool, you've got the rule of quality, and all these things were so close, you know, some were higher than others, but where one was high and lower, the other one was lower and higher, and you're just going, well, how do you go about choosing three of the most perfectly awesome things there is, you know, and where a number of judges would go, oh yeah, it's A, B, C, an equal amount would go, it's C, B, A, or whatever it is. It was just constant back and forth, and in the end Lawrence had to come over and just force us to choose, you know, and it was really difficult, that category, you know. So but no one was excluded. No one was left out. You know, and that's a good thing. Giving feedback as well was great. You know, sat down and gave Richard Gray a lot of feedback, which was nice, and it was because Richard's such an awesome guy. He wants that, and I really feel that from him. And I'm not normally a guy for what do I say? Because I liked his piece so much. Everything works for me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think there's any such thing as a perfectly painted model. I really don't. I can find faults in everything. I find faults in my own work, and I'm sure every painter can. You know, and the way I look at a lot of judges as well is, while they're judges, it doesn't mean they're better painters, me included. And while we can all stand there going judgy, 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 you know, the question is would you actually let yourself get away with those things, or would you even notice to let yourself get away with those things? And I think the answer across the board is no. The reason I think that is because I look at some of the other judges' work and I see the mistakes and I see the properties in myself and in other judges that we actually are critical about. So no, there's no such thing as a perfect paint job. So, you know, with that, how do you judge 3 cool as feck models with pretty much perfect paint jobs? Yeah, it was really difficult, you know. Am I coming to Warmer Fest this year? I might do. I don't know. I've not made plans to yet. I certainly don't have anything painted for it. Well, that, you know, there's no surprise there, is it? Because I'm not that kind of guy. Let's have a look at some of these comments here. Good evening to everyone who's joined. Hello to anybody who's not seen me do one of these before. Generally play guitar a lot in them, but, you know, talk painting, shove questions in, whatever it is you guys want to get out of me, I'll do my best. It's no easy thing. You got different scales, different styles, different compositions, different executions, absolutely, you know, but that's why we have a range of judges, you know, 8 judges and 1 tiebreaker. You know, that's a lot of judges to make the right decisions. So all the right decisions were made outside of individual opinions. You know, so everything was just amazing this year. But it's good that it's just not clear cut. Yeah. It is good that it's not clear cut. And well, that's kind of what I want to see. I want to go to a cabinet. I want to see a cabinet full of the most awesomely painted miniatures there is. Why? Not because I get to choose them. It's because I get to admire them. It's as simple as that. That's the biggest bit about judging. He's not going, I'm the big I am, I get to go, you are validated. You know, I can't, to be honest, that's kind of the worst bit about it for me. For me personally, I get to help people, I get to point them in the right direction, and I get to see awesome paint jobs. Like, that's ultimately it. You know, I get to see awesome paint jobs. You know, and I get to learn as well. So for the first time this year, I actually brought a load of my own models, and I was able then to sit, you know, I've got my models next to Andy Wardle's, Richard Gray's, David Soper's, the heavy metal teams, some of the other sculptors and blah blah blah, and I literally get to do a direct comparison, uninterrupted, under the lamps. So I get to learn, you know, and I get to compare, and I get to criticise myself, but then I also get to give my models to the other judges and to the competitors, and, you know, get feedback from Richard Gray, you know, and Scott Ockley and Michael Anderson, who was there this year, you know, 20 odd, 27, 25, I can't remember how many he said, but he's got a lot of golden demons as Mr. Anderson. You know, he was there this year, and, you know, it was a good idea to bring my own stuff. So I'm cheers for all these little hearts that are fluttering up the sides there, you know, but it is the big thing for me. Is I just love painting, and I love people painting, and I just want you all to get better at it and win, you know. So we'll see about next year. There's some interesting things coming, I think. Find his fault is how we all learn. Yeah. Not being happy is how you progress as well. Or like not being happy, not being satisfied, but being happy. Be happy but not satisfied. You know, and that's that way you'll constantly improve. You know, and it is a good piece of advice for those who were competition painters or want to win trophies. If you think you're good enough to win a trophy, you're not going to be happy when you don't. If you think you've done all the work you need to do, you're kidding yourself. If you think you're just good enough, then your game has ended. I guarantee it. You know, and I'll use again Mr. Soper as a shining example. You go and read David Soper's blog, you read his review of Salute from last year, and you will hear him say, "Oh, I was trying some things. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere." And you know, David's so humble. He's in his words, in his actions. Look at his standard. Look at his standard. You know. If you were to ask me who is the single best painter in the world, it's David. Outstanding above anyone else. Just outstanding. You know? And I bear in mind, I get to compare his work to the best painters in the world and my own, and he is outstanding above the rest. He's on his own, you know. Out of any of the European painters, obviously this is my opinion, but I tell you what, if you sit me down with one of his models and anyone else's models, I'll point out, and I guarantee I bet I could convince you. In quality, technical quality, he is outstanding. Artistic quality, he is outstanding. Rule of cool, he is outstanding. You know, that's David Soper. You know, so. David's listening, like, I genuinely mean it. Probably never pops up on these things anyway, but yeah, I genuinely mean it. So yeah, what's being said here? There's some laughing. Cheers for the comments on the arc. Dude, my pleasure. Me and Mike Anderson actually looked at your model as one of the first ones we actually moved from that cabinet straight over to the finalist pins because we really liked how clean it was done. You're going to go far if you make whatever adjustments. I genuinely mean that. Ralph Harris. What? Somebody called Ralph Harris has joined. Right. Right. Good video, mate. I always like to keep in. Right. How's it going, Mr. Matt? You alright, Mr. Matt Kennedy? If anybody doesn't follow MK Paints 4, go and follow him because he's amazing. Slayer when a demon when we're ex and a metal painter. Yeah, we can always be pushed, and even if you think you are like technically perfect, there's no boundary on the rule of cool. There's no boundary on the rule of art. You know, and you can keep pushing all those things again and again and again. You know, so yeah. I like a scarecrow. I get outstanding in his field. Brilliant. So yeah, this year was amazing. I can't wait for next year. I'm actually quite excited about the new Artis Opus brushes because for those that know me in dry brushing, I'm a big advocate of dry brushing. They don't need me to advertise their brushes. They'll do that themselves, but I'll give you my thoughts on dry brushing. They've given me a brush as well, you know, and maybe I'll do a demo. Dry brushing is ill-taught, undersold, and promoted as a beginner, easy, low-standard technique. It's not, it never has been, and in the hands of somebody who knows how to dry brush, expect stunning results. So for those that ask the question on the fundamentals courses, they'll ask me about dry brushing, and then I'll show them how to get airbrush smooth blends. Well, you know, it's dry brushing, isn't it? You know, well, this is the thing, we taught to dry brushing in this kind of way, and it's just not great. You know, there's more of a dry massage, it's more of a dry rub kind of idea, and different brushes have different jobs, and different ways of using dry brushing has different effects, and on top of that, most people's dry brush isn't dry enough, you know, and there's too much paint, and yeah, there's not enough good education around dry brushing. So now that those guys are doing that, I expect that good education start filtering through, because I know Byron from Element, he is a first class dry brusher, and I've known that for a very long time. Yeah, he's really good. So if his skills in dry brushing or anything that go off, and the new brush he's created with Artis Opus is anything to go by, then it's going to be a good thing. You know, like I say, I've got one. They gave me a sample, so you know, we'll do a demo, because I love dry brushing, and you know, the Games Workshop brushes that change to dry brushing, they're like either part synthetic or really rough sable, and they were just not good enough. They were lower standard brushes, so you're going to get a lower standard dry brush, you know. So I'd pay for a Winsor Newton like 3/4 inch or a 1/2 inch flat brush, and really have quality sable for dry brushing. Never use a crap brush. Dry brushing deserves more, by the way. And again, I have now to do with Artis Opus and Element Games. They're nothing to do with me. So you know, the only reasons I have to say good things is because good things are happening. But like I said, I haven't tried the brush yet, but Byron is good at it, you know. And I got a demo off Joe on the Siege Studio stand, and he was producing great results with it as well. So we'll see, you know. So there you go. Let's have a look, see what comments are on. I always get a funny comments at the dry massage quote. Can't see the win in pieces. Yeah, where did he get published at Salute? I haven't got a clue. You know, I should do, but you know, this is me and social media. Artis Opus completely changed the way you see the technique. Yeah, good. Winsor & Newton, your favourite brushes? Yeah, I've not bought any in a while. I actually use Element Games brushes. I think the Element Games character and regiment brushes are pretty awesome, and they've always been consistent. I don't know if they're made by the same people or in the same way as the Artis Opus brushes, but I find the Element Games brushes a real good experience for me. My favourite brushes, unfortunately, Broken Toads Mark IIs, but you know, they're no more, those guys, unfortunately, in that department. Their brushes were just outstanding. I'd never had a brush where I felt I needed to save it for a special day. You know, like when you first find out Winsor Newtons, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll save that for that extra special occasion. And then as I got more experience with painting and more prolific and better, you know, Winsor Newtons just became me meat and veg, me meat and two veg, if you will. Became the staples in my painting, so they just became normal. So I never had a brush that was special anymore. And then the Broken Toad ones came around, and you know, I got a special brush again. So yeah, it's a shame about that. And you know, they were saying that they didn't want to be the people to charge what they had to charge in order to keep that quality. And I was just like, you know, I was telling Chris so that I would pay double for a good brush. I would, you know. And I literally will put my money where my mouth is in that regard. So, yeah. If anybody else feels that way, I'd recommend just petitioning Chris with money, not talk. You know, as I have done. You know, so there you go. Anyway, what have we got? Bourne has really been pushing it in the past couple of years. Yeah, dry brushing's the way forward. Doesn't Byron sometimes use ladies' makeup brushes on scene and gets... Yeah, he's always used ladies' makeup brushes. And these new brushes by Artis Opus have got that feel to them. They're really soft. In fact, I'll go and grab it. Do. Yo, there it is. So they gave me the medium size one, and just so you know how big it is in comparison to a size 0. Yeah, standard size 0 paintbrush. So yeah, really nice, really soft, like really soft, which is what you want. You don't want anything coarse for dry brushing, really, you know. Let's see if I can show you this. Let's have some lights. Don't know how this will come up on camera, but you know, this dreadnought took me 4 hours to paint, and if you can see this blend here from dark to light, it's pretty much airbrush smooth. And if I turn to the top, dark to the light, yeah. So this dark bit's kind of glazed in, but the rest of the blend is actually dry brushed on. You know, all these blends on this dreadnought are all dry brushed. You know, and this is how I work. You know, the blends down there, blends on each of the panels. You know, every blend. And I've got a number of models that are all blended just with dry brushing. You know, so there you go. Maybe one day I'll get a sponsorship. Right, let's see what else other people have said. You love your broken toe brushes. Yeah, they are awesome, aren't they? Using Yayo's right now. Didn't get on with Games and Gear brushes. Are they the ones that plug and, you know what I mean, open up? Yeah, not my bag. Many would have paid what Chris would have had to charge. What he was. Well, you've got to tell Chris. Chris, he feels like he shouldn't. I think that reflects really well on him. You know, he doesn't want to feel like he's ripping people off, and that reflects really well on him. That's quite noble, you know, and that's not the business attitude we've been we've grown accustomed to in this industry, and it really should be rewarded. He should be rewarded, you know. Money talks, bullshit walks, and you know, some money should really walk his way. That's genuinely what I think. So I would pay the double. He says he'd have to charge, because the price of high quality sable is going up. Which is actually an interesting thing, you know. If the price of sable is going up as much as it is, then if other brush manufacturers and providers aren't putting their prices up, does that mean they're actually using a lower quality sable? I don't know. But do other brushes compare to Chris Toad's? For me, no. You know, there's great brushes out there, you know, because that's what I paint with 90% of the time. You know, like I said again, I like element games, character and regiment. They don't do a very small brush though. Not like they don't really go too small, but I don't use small brushes anyway. I just make sure I've got a brush with a great tip on it, you know, a really nice fine point, and those element games brushes really do that for me. So there we go. Surprised I'm not sponsored. I'm not sure if I want to feel obliged to say nice things. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on certain relationships. I have, to a degree, given up on professional relationships. I like to be me regardless now, and if somebody wants me to be me, and hopefully it sells their products and it's good enough for me, then cool. But I don't want to have all fake smiles and fake adverts, or I don't want to be professionally obliged to be anything but myself. I've been fake in the past. I've suffered in the past, and I don't have time anymore to be anything but myself, you know, and that's where I stand now. I've been through enough bullshit, so you know, all I want is for everyone to win, everyone to succeed, everyone to learn. I want for me to love the hobby, whatever my hobby might be, whether it be playing guitar or painting or whatever. But I don't want to compromise myself anymore. You know, you'd pay to sponsor a Soul. Cheers, Al. Have you seen Savage Arc Neon 80s inspired Necromunda Squat Bounty? That is a mouthful. It's so wacky. It's fabulous colour explosion. Tag me in it, Nate. Whatever it is, tag me in it. Can be completely independent and unbiased without sponsorship. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of not about that. I don't really like politics or any of that sort of stuff. I just want to be, and I am right now. I'm free to be me. Well, that's just that, and I will be me. And the more and more time goes on, I'm more me, and I'm quite enjoying it. And if I'm honest as well, the more me I am, the more I'm reaping the benefits of life. So that's a lesson to anybody who's maybe struggling with certain things. Is be more you, whatever that means. It took me like almost 40 years to fucking discover what that is. But you know, there you go. I definitely have a business self. Yeah, Elle says I can switch between authentic self and... But yeah, I have a business self. I have a business head. I know when to be polite and I know when I can not care. But ultimately, I'm in control of when I care and when I don't care. I'm in control of when I moderate and don't moderate. Not an obligation to somebody else. So that's where I stand with that now. And I don't know if I'll regret saying any of these things in the future, but right now I ain't got anything to lose, so I don't really care. You know, give me something to care about. You know, so like for example, if students want to come and learn with me, you know, that's cool. If they don't like me as a person, then I don't have to spend time with somebody that don't like me. Hey, win-win. You know, if they do like me and I work hard, you know, people that come to learn from me come in at my house and I'll look after them. I'll work hard to look after them. And hopefully anybody that's been on one of my courses or been at my painting table will hopefully echo those thoughts. Nobody's ever said otherwise, and I get lots of return students. So, you know, there you go. L, but who am I? Well, who is the thinker behind your thoughts? And for anybody that has, like maybe like they might think they've got psychological issues, blah blah blah, and might be negative vibes. Think about this: you can observe your thoughts, good or bad. So if you can observe your thoughts, then who are you if you're not your thoughts? And are your thoughts even worth worrying about if you can observe them? If you can observe them, you don't have to judge them. You might be thinking all sorts of horrible stuff, but you can just go, all right, it's like a movie I'm watching. It's like a book in my head. You don't have to judge it, you know. You just have to observe it. You know, the question is, you know, if you think you are your memories, well, you're not, because you kind of think your own memories. Well, who is the thinker behind the thoughts? There you go. Have some of that wackiness. Anybody else wants to talk about stuff like that, you know, I have a YouTube channel for that called TNC Apply, which has been a very interesting experience, I must admit. So, Nate's saying, damn truth being spoken now. Which bit? But yeah, I like to try and speak my truths. Yeah, oh, cheers, Al, thanks. I really do try and look after you guys. Alfarius, I'll preach it. Sounds like cognitive behavioural therapy right there. I've done various types of that, and it's a very interesting thing. You've really got to find out who you are. If a name is something given to you, and memories is something you have, you don't say I am a body, you say I have a body. Who are you? If you are not your name, you're not your memories, you're not your thoughts. It's a very interesting thing. It very much actually relates to painting. So let's put a painting analogy in there, because I often think about using my painting for therapy, to help people, which I have done in the past. So I've used it to help people with emotional learning difficulties, as well as autism and things like that. So if you think about this is how I look at student painters, all right, and this is how you look at yourself as well. All right, you were born with infinite potential, and all that essentially was added to you was limitations, to put it that way. All right, and this is the same as painting. If I can get hold of you as a fresh painter when you've got no bullshit in your head, yeah, I'll make a better painter out of you sooner. And what the community basically has in it is lots of pre and misconceptions about painting. So when you come on one of my courses, alright, generally what I don't do is teach you more stuff. What I do is I teach you to realise that your head is filled with shit and that a lot of it has to come out of the way, you know. And this essentially is kind of like a rebirth. So Elle's been on my course, and you know, like, I mean, dry brushing, beginner technique, low standard technique, blah blah blah, or Agrax Earthshade is miracle in a pot, or skill in a pot, or whatever. All dumb ideas. You know, spending more money on a brush will make you a better painter, or flow improver is the way to go. Drying retarders, wet palettes, blah blah blah, all this sort of stuff. While grey painters use all these things, it doesn't mean they are essential. It doesn't mean you will be a better painter. They know how to use these things because they are good painters. You know, I don't use any of them things. You know, am I a good painter? Well, that's up to you guys to decide. You know, but you know, people do pay me now. But the thing is you need a model, you need a palette, you need some paint, and you need a brush. That's all you need. That's all I want to use. I'm very much like purist like that. I like to develop my skills and my thoughts and my thinking, then apply it to the model. So how does that work with psychology? Well, it's the same. It's like, how do I take the colours that are in my head and apply them out there in a life? You know, the colours will be my thoughts, the colours will be my emotions, the colours will be or the tools, the paintbrush will be my actions, my hands, and how do I paint the model of my life? It's all just like one and the same, you know. So you kind of, as a little baby and as a beginner painter, you've got infinite potential. You can do it all already. You're all like ready just to receive awesomeness, but bullshit is placed there instead. It's generally product over skill. It's generally crutches over behaviours, you know, and unfortunately, most people don't see that quite yet, you know. So there you go. That's what I teach, you know. So yeah, blah 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 blah. Right, who said what? Would I swap a painting lesson for a cooking lesson? Pretty good cook, you know. Chinese have this saying called one true level. If you get good at one thing, you'll get good at all things, because it's all the same when you get down to the nitty gritty of it. So I asked James Otero when he spent a weekend here with me. Yeah, I actually did give him a painting lesson with a guitar. But I tell you what, if you're in Manchester and you want to just come and cook for me, I'll sit and paint with you, so win, you know. Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. There is more to that saying than meets the eye. People think that's I think therefore I must be alive. But a better way of looking at that, for those that don't necessarily understand, is your thoughts become things. If you think bullshit, expect bullshit. If you think bad, negative things, expect bad, negative things. Now there's the interesting thing. All your thoughts are, regardless of how good or bad they are, having been there, yeah, clinically and physically, all your thoughts are, regardless of how good, and your feelings along with that, are essentially just an earworm with no music that you've practiced in. So if your thoughts are just habitually practiced in, like a fucking shit Cheeky Girls song or something like that, then you can practice a good song in, yeah, and that's your choice. And it takes time, it takes patience with yourself, it takes compassion with yourself, and you just gotta never give up. doing it. You know, if you can attach that to some kind of emotional experience, you know, like phobias generally like an emotional experience in a negative way, well, you can attach good things to emotional experiences, you know. So I've got a lot of experience doing this practically, and I've just been reaping the benefits again and again. So again, if anybody ever needs any help, then I don't want to sit here going on about it that much, but it's something I feel strongly about. But the unfortunate thing is most people don't want to hear it until they're actually ready to hear these things and actually apply them. That's the thing, you know. So it took me years to build myself back up to where I am. But anyway, painting helps, guitar helps. They're all analogies for life. Cooking helps, analogies for life. You know, shit ingredients, shit food, easy peasy. You know, shit thoughts, shit body. Start practicing, man, because it is painting. It's all a skill. It's all a skill. Okay. Who's saying what? Neil Paints, hello. Blah blah. Counter song, hello. Who told you, L? Who told you you're full of shit? Me? You're not. You're all right. Yeah, full of shit, really. Right. Tough to break bad habits. Not with repetition, not with perseverance. You just got to realise it takes time. It took me years. But I tell you what, I've done it. I have done it. Yeah, I'm proof that it's possible, and I ain't anything special. It's the same with painting. I believe anyone can do what I can do. Yeah, because I've taught people who have had strokes. Well, I've already said emotional and learning difficulties, temper problems, the shakes, vision problems. You know, I've taught a lot of people with a lot of reasons to not do shit, and they can all do it. You know, and I believe anyone can go and take a demon away. I genuinely do. You know, I'm just a guy who paints. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So, bear that in mind. Steve says, oh yes, I did a weekend with Banshee, broke some bad habits. Yeah, go on, man. So this is the thing, right, actually. So when it comes to putting new material in your head, you've got to attach it to emotional experience. So when I teach painting, and Elle will be able to hopefully relate to this, I make it an emotional experience for you. Very much become an entertainer, or I become a challenger. So what I'll do is during the lessons, I will make you feel dumb in some instances. You'll be like sat there going, oh man, I feel really freaking stupid. And it's like, but you'll never forget that, and attach that lesson to that experience, you know. And I'll put everybody on the spot with very particular and very tightly worded questions to make you just go, you think you know about painting? You think you know? Well, here's a question that should be really obvious for you then. And people go, and I don't know if Elle was there for this part of the lesson, but anyway, again, anyone who's been on the lesson will know what the question is, you know. And it's experiences like this is why I don't share my painting, because if I put me painting out on YouTube or out in one of these, or put me teaching, out on one of these videos, then it spoils that experience. Then you won't get that emotional kick from it without me there just to fuck with you a little bit, you know. I'll make you laugh. I'll attach it to some funny things, just me being the quirky old nutter that I am, essentially. And it's those things that actually you take away with you. So if you got any lessons to learn, whether they be out in your personal life or in your hobbies, attach them to emotional experiences. You know, there could be a negative emotional experience, you know. So yeah, you can become addicted to certain things. So like here's a top example. I had to go to the dentist. So there's an emotional experience, you know. It's fucking scary. So basically, I use that time to program things into my head, like I'm happy, healthy, lucky, for example. It sounds crazy, but I tell you what, you won't forget it. And every time you go to the dentist, instead of thinking I'm shitting my pants on, it's going to work, it's going to work, all I'm thinking now is I'm happy, healthy, lucky. I can't help it. It's become, that's kind of become my reaction to being at the dentist. And then sat there, my dentist is drilling away at me, right? And I'm laughing. He's like, you're right. I'm going, no, I'm laughing. It was a proper weird experience, you know. And the first time that kind of happened to me by accident, this is when I got over my fear of dentists. I had to have a tooth out, and I was absolutely shitting my pants. I was like crying, like not just for the pain, but the thought that I had to go to the dentist and cry. Anyway, so I had the injection in my mouth, and I was like pounding my heart, like proper racing. I'm in this fucking chair, and the dentist goes like this. He puts this clamp on my tooth. He goes, right, you're gonna feel some pressure now. And my brain, I don't know why, this literally is exactly how it happened in my head. My brain imagines, you know that boggly-eyed gremlin from Gremlin 2, the mad dentist one? I imagine that guy, this fucking gremlin over me, and just going like that, brace yourself! And I tell you what, I just started laughing. And it should be a scary experience, blah, blah, blah. But I started laughing. I just thought, do you know what? If I was watching me on a movie now, have this tooth out, I'd be fucking roaring with laughter. And from that moment on, that's the dentist for me. And it was attached to an emotional experience. And that's it just fucking works like that, you know. And it can work the opposite way, you know. When you're a little kid, a dog jumps out rah, 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 and bites you, you'll be scared for dogs for the rest of your life. But imagine if every time that dog jumps out, rah, 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 you give the kid 100 quid. And every time a dog jumps out, this kid be like, oh, where's my money? Do you know what I mean? It's weird like that. So now when I have emotional experiences, I use it as an opportunity to capitalise on a better life. So there you go. Have some madness from Tommy's way of thinking. That is very quantum. You love it, yeah. But weirdly, I found out about stuff like that later on. You know, so yeah. You think that I am confused. Well, that's why you should just observe your thoughts and don't try and make sense of the fucking things, man. Bases for miniatures, all true, thank you. Wrath of Khan. Rapey dead earworm. It is. Oh, it freaked me out that when I was a kid. Because what's the name of the actor that gets the freaking earworm? Yeah, horrible. Silver Fox painting, preach. What's wrong with the cheeky girls? Don't know, depends what you're doing really, doesn't it? Songwriters as well as singers more than most pop acts then and now. They tried, yes they did. Neil Paint, hello! El Kinda, there is no spoon, correct, there is no spoon. Being plugged in, unplug yourself, dude, unplug yourself. Got to go, take care, see you later, Steve. Although you've probably already gone. I'm sorry if I'm not catching up with all these comments. Hey man, hope you feel great. I do feel good, you know. Tony Robbins, right. I'm not familiar with Tony Robbins, but this is what I found. Based on the one true level thing. I've not read the rest of your comment yet, but based on the one true level idea is, it all is one and the same. You get good at one thing, you get good at all things. And of all the information that I've found, including the information that I've just experienced randomly throughout my life, is everyone's telling the same story. Everyone who is a success is telling the same story. So let's see what Tony Robbins has to say. Tony Robbins says a similar thing. You are in control of how you feel about things. If you attach positive thoughts to bad situations, you'll start to see positives in everything. Search on YouTube for T&C apply. In fact, no, don't. I'm just going to... Where's me frigging pens? Da, da, da. It's all backwards. This says choice. Wow! choice is the same if you write it upside down or not. Weird. If you write choice backwards, it says choice upside down. It doesn't. Look. Both say choice. How weird's that? So, here you go. It is the talk. Here's the talk. Alright. So, let's get rid of all this. You can have shackles to these weights from the past. You can be shackled to these things, alright? Like depression, fear, pain, anxiety. You call them what you want. You've got all these frigging chains to the past. And this idea just hit me walking through a field one time. On the way home from working with some kind of fucking wanker. Alright? Forgiveness is a good thing as well, by the way. Forgiving him, but he's still a wanker. Alright? So, yeah, you can have all these shackles to the past, and they're anchors. They'll just keep you exactly where you are, no matter what they are. They will keep you here. You know, these are depression, fear, pain, anxiety. You name it, whatever it is. Yeah, some of the things you ain't happy about. You know, and then in this hand, you've got balloons. You know, happiness, health, love, friends. Call them what you want. Now, here's the thing. If you must keep hold of these, you could tie a balloon to it. You know, there's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is, well, you still have choice. Your choice isn't here, and your choice isn't there. Your choice is in your hands. You can let go of the fucking chains. Yeah? Now, letting go of things can be a struggle. So instead of letting go of things, right, if you think about this, if you hold two fists as tight as possible, alright, you'll hold them equally. But if I tell you now, still hold them tight as possible, but think about holding one more, I guarantee one will weaken. So if you think about holding as tight as possible your balloons, you'll start to let go of this shit. And these will always be there where you've left them, if you feel you need them, but you can carry these around. Who's ever seen a guy who doesn't look cool holding a bunch of balloons, you know? Or you can give these to people, or, you know, no one wants to share this stuff, you know, and it's all choice. I'm rambling on with myself now, and I explained it much better in that video, but you get the idea. Like, you've got all these balloons. Do you rather have more of these, or more of these? You know, these can be in all sorts of colours, you know. You can collect these, you can give them away, you can do what you want. It's balloons, isn't it? It's just fucking awesome. So, there you go. And on that video as well, you get to see what a Royal Marine thinks about the world as well. Blah, 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 blah. Speaking of gremlins, Phoebe Cates as a mental reward. Yeah, she was alright, wasn't she, back in the day? Jeremiah, if you accept what has happened, it will change how you think about it, which will change how you feel about it, which will change how you act about it. Absolutely correct. Why the fuck am I not in a university of some sort teaching kids that? Don't have any qualifications, do I? You know, simple as that. But if somebody wants to point me in the right direction or point somebody at me, I'll happily step into those shoes. Like, genuinely. I didn't teach that in the lesson. That's for a different thing, isn't it? It's about painting when it comes to the painting course. But like I said, I'd like to put my painting course out there as a therapy course for those that need it. You know, I genuinely would, but I kind of don't know how to do that and be reputable. You know, is there like a proper protocol to follow? You know, because who am I? Just Tommy from Manchester. You know, I don't have letters after my name, unless it's Baldy or something like that. You know, so I don't know. You know, but painting's awesome. So is guitaring. So yeah, how awesome is this? Bases for miniatures. Cheers, dude. Thank you, and have a top night. Fingers have got a bit chilly. It's alright, isn't it? It's alright indeed. Somebody has said to me, would you have an orange with natural wood finish, which you can't really see in the camera there. Kind of a little bit. Natural wood finish with a metallic burst on it and white pickups. I'd have gone, get out of town. But when I saw it, it's just fit. And it's got proper nice figured maple on the neck. Look at that. That's called maple burl, for those that don't know. And if anybody fancies a painting challenge, now you know what maple burl looks like. So yeah, and there's a lovely pearl inlaid right in there. Which might be plastic for all I know, but whatever. So yeah. Nate Satan, Tommy Manchester. BSC, SSC. Nocky, cheers dude, thank you. Thank you. I'm alright, I suppose. I actually booked my first guitar lesson, believe it or not, next week for my birthday. Goblin Botherer, good evening. I'd say if you got any requests, but I don't really know songs that most people know. Not that. Anybody got any painting questions? Challenge me with some painting business while I warm my fingers up. I've got a little bit. I've got stiff. Fingers got a bit stiff in the last half an hour. Pink Floyd. I do know some Pink Floyd. Believe it or not. What do I prefer to shade? Red, brown, blue or green inks? Don't use inks. I used to use inks, but I don't use inks now. Blue, brown or green, all of them. Not all at the same time, but not all exclusive of each other either. But I would use all of them in some situation at some point. I'd happily just use brown, or just use blue, or just use green, or just use a combination of any. They're all valid shades for red. Yeah, absolutely. Which end of a paintbrush to dry brush with? Kinda the hairy end. How long have I been painting? I have been painting since I was about maybe 11, 12, 13, something like that. My earliest white dwarf I ever bought was White Dwarf 136, which might be like 1991, something like that maybe. But I was painting before that, so it's been a while. High Tech Berserker, cool name. I saw the yellow arm and my brain was going Helbrecht. Oh, right, thing there says 30 seconds remaining, which means I'm out of here. Am I entering games Golden Demon this year? I haven't got anything painted, and generally I'm not a competition painter, so probably not. I've not even got a ticket or a plan to go yet, so we'll see. What technique scares me the most? Blending. There you go. See you later. It's going to go off any moment now, which was super easy.